Okay, I pretty much got everything where I want, and I took the handles back off, and since these doors were painted with the handles on, I could look on the back side of here, clean off anything of overspray that sprayed up on here. I've got all the paint edges cleaned off this edge, and if your door has been painted more than once or twice, and if they left the door trim on and the hardware on, you might have a lot of buildup on this edge, and that might be the hardest part of your project, is to get this stuff off. So I see where the nib is, and like I said, that nib, and then there's another little one that keeps it up. So I don't want to have that facing up, or else I'm going to see that every time I go to close this door. I want that nib at least halfway, and then I know that this notch thing is down here, or I can even swivel it down even lower. Okay? And where that is, I have to remember where that is so that I push this side on first, and then this side should be able to push straight down. And that's it. Okay? That's nice. That's all nice and clean now. And this should just be able to be pushed on and clicked on there. And that's it. Okay? All right. So now I'll rearrange the camera, show you this one here, so you know there's no monkey business going on. Monkey business. Okay, I've got everything cinched down exactly where I want it. I've got the nib there. Now I'm not going to do it over on the right because I want it over on this side. I don't want it over there. Okay, so I'm going to look at that, and I'm going to put it right kind of down in there. Remember, that's where it was before. So instead of pushing there, I got to push on the opposite side so that it gets tight over there, because the little nib is there. In fact, I can push right on the top here, opposite where that nib is, not where the little notch is. Does that make sense? And then push it on there and push it down. Okay? And that looks like it's on there. Okay? It just wedges on is all it does. And you may have to push hard on this. See? There. It notched in there. Okay? And you might have to do that when you're putting them on. I don't want to start banging on it and stuff, but it feels like it went. Lots of times you'll feel it and you'll hear it click. And if you don't get it on there the first time you go to open the door or close the door, the handle could come off. And if it does, then you know you just didn't snap it on there all the way. Okay? All right. Look where my nib is. Right there. My little notch is down towards the bottom. And let's see here where it is. Okay. And so I'm going to push right up in here and then kind of push down on it before I push where that nib is. And then just push it down in there and it sucks in there. See, just encourage it a little bit. Like that. Okay, and it's on there. Okay, and now I've got my last one here. Hopefully that light didn't bother you, but hey, we'll just keep the show on the road here. Here's my nib, here's my little notch. Okay. And that's about where it was before. I don't want to push where the nib is first, because then it might be hard to get the top, okay? I push on the top and push it where it needs to be, and then just push down on that. And it kind of wedges down in there, right? just going to kind of hang on to this. There. These needed a little bit of finagling to get it on there, okay? And there you go. And you see on that one there, it's still hitting hard. You can tell, and I can see where it's been messing up on the paint on the header, right? Right there, see? That tells me that ball is up too high. And it's hard to open and close that particular door. So I'm going to get up there next. That's what my next video is going to be about. So stick around. Now see, the things like that, you can fix around your house on your own. Yeah, it took a little effort. It took a little effort, but we got it fixed, didn't we? You didn't have to mess with it. You didn't have to deal with the handle ripping off. You didn't have to call anybody. Had you have called a handyman, who knows how much he would have charged you for that, especially after looking at it. He may have had to go to the store. Maybe he gets it all tightened up and these handles aren't lining up now, and 3 months later it's loose again. You think, oh man, how come it's loose? And he put liquid nails on there, or construction adhesive, and he thought that would do it, and he told you, okay, just don't touch it for 3 days and then you'll be fine. And then after 3 days you started working on it, and a month later it pulled off just like it did before, and you just paid a handyman who knows how much, $125, $150 to fix that, and you're back to square one. Okay? So sometimes stuff like that happens, and you know, that's not going to happen. Save your money, keep it in your pocket, and fix things like that on your own. Hey, you can do it. If I can do it, I'm just an average Joe. If I can do it, and if I can figure it out, you can do it too. I didn't do anything that I don't think you couldn't do. Okay, that goes for all my videos on my that I ever do. If I make it, I think that means you can do it. In fact, I won't make a video I think you can't do. So rest assured, anything you see from VideoJoe, you can probably do as well. Remember that. Okay, isn't that cool how you just fixed that? And if you have any double doors like that, and if they're loose, and if there's nothing on the back side, in fact, I went to a friend's house and she had the same problem, and they initially, the screws, one screw was bad, so they took this and they flipped it straight up like that, and then they screwed it back in. You know, I wouldn't suggest that, but this is a much better way, and chances are it's not going to get loose. If it ever happens to slightly get loose, it's not going to pull off because the screw is holding the nut over here. If worst case scenario, if you feel like it's starting to get loose because you've been opening and closing the door, then guess what? You just pull the handle back off with your little screwdriver on that little nib, on that notch right there. Take that off like I showed you. Take this sketch and trim off like I showed you on both sides, whatever. And tighten up that one screw where the screw and the nut is, because chances are you may have to tighten that a little bit. Do you see what I mean? Because right now it's just sucked in as snug as I could get it onto the hollow core door. And I think that's gonna last. And worst case scenario, 6 months down the road, if I have to pull it apart, guess what? I'll pull it apart, tighten up the screw because it might have backed off a little bit, and put it back on there. Next time I put it back on there, I could tighten up the screw head and put a little crazy glue right there, couldn't I? Maybe that would help it from not loosening up. You know, something like that, okay? All right, so now I'll get my tall ladder, and I'll get up there and show you that little ball and socket, and show you how that works. Because you know what, you can adjust those. I've adjusted these before, and I'll show you that, and I'll explain that on the next video. So I hope you watch it. Well, I'm glad that's over with. I can cross that off my list once and for all. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos. Yeah.